If you have one of these generators, like I do here, I have not used this in a couple of years. We got this for camping, but I ultimately upgraded to a new truck, the Ford F-150 Power Boost with the built-in generator, so we don't use this. At least I don't use it as much. But I haven't used it in a year or two, and I pulled it out the other day and it wouldn't turn over, so I thought I'd show you guys how to problem shoot this. More than likely it's just a carburetor, but currently I haven't diagnosed it yet. I figured you guys would come along and do this with me. This is kind of an easy job. I've done quite a few carburetors for small engines on lawnmowers, dirt bikes, four-wheelers, snow blowers, you name it. But I'll walk you through the process. Where I'm at currently is I've taken all the screws out. I thought maybe you could get to the carb by just taking off the side panel, but it looks like you need to take off the entire housing for it. So I've taken off all of the screws on both sides. All the screws are exactly the same length, so there's no organization that you need for the screws. Just make sure you keep them all in a bucket or something. This is your exhaust side. On this side, you'll see there's actually a foam gasket here, and it looks like you should probably pull this off before you start lifting it, or else you might rip it. Pull that off, put it here with your exhaust grate, and put it off to the side. Other things here, I don't see anything on this side that will get in the way when I pull it off. And then going over to the other side with your control panel, pop this one off. Now this is going to be hooked up. Yep, all the wires are hooked up to this. I don't think you have to unhook the wires because this outer housing is not going to be interrupted by the wires. I can just lift this up and pull it off, but I also think that there's a fuel line that's going to keep this thing down that I'm going to have to go and take and pull the fuel line off and pull this box off. Box. Pull these out because I'll clean those as well. She's stuck up there. If you've never done anything like this before, kind of just got to get in there and see what does what. Looks like I may need to. There's some. I did not take out the screws on this top section because it didn't seem like that was holding it down, but it may actually be. All right, these ones are a different size, but they stand out. They're coarse thread, not fine thread. Every one of these little screws has its own washer, so make sure you're tracking those. See what she does now. She's going. Now one of my clips, you might have heard something in there. That was just one of my clips for attaching the plastic housing. This thing right here. And I'll just throw that in a bucket because I know that it's going to go on all of these locations. Now I can get up in here and see. There's some insulation. I'll show you here. Yeah, we've got some insulation in the housing. A couple breathers. But it looks like that gas can is connected to this top. So we'll have to figure out how to get that off. Okay, I want to show you this other side. There's actually a fuel line that comes down off the top of the tank and goes into the fuel pump, or one of the components of it. It's down in here. It's hard to see, but that's where we got to disconnect it. Right down in there, there's a tube. That tube here that comes from the right below that that screw hole, it goes down into that fuel pump, and we got to disconnect that. I'm just using a pair of bent needle nose so that I can get down in there, pinch it, pull off that line. Not sure if this will be the right tool, but and I wish I had a little more light. Better light option. Let's get it higher here. Oh, now you can see it better. I'll show you. All right, it's right there. You can see the one in front of it. That's not the one you want to get. It's the one right behind it. Okay, that'll do it. Here we go on this side. It's actually a line coming out from the bottom. You can see that going to a filter. So the first one I just took off was actually a breather. It's part of a vacuum system. So what we have to do is take off this side. The problem is the moment I take it off, all that gas is going to drain from right here. So the best course of action is probably to take it from this part of the pump, since it's a vacuum system, so you're gonna have multiple areas that help you pull gas to the engine. But what we're gonna do is take it off right here. That other side still did have to come off. This one, if I pull it, this whole line is going to have to be snaked back in and around the bottom side of this breather, or this air filter and intake. But that's where we have to go with it. And so we're going to grab this little clamp, back it off. All right. We'll take the back side of this, our screwdriver. Again, this stuff can dry rot pretty quickly, so you don't want to do anything that cracks it. It's on there. And also be careful when you're working it that you don't break this nipple that this goes over, because those are just plastic. You do that and you'll need a whole new pump. There we go. Now I got gas coming out. But I'll be able to elevate this, plug it, pull it. Now I can elevate it above the tank and it will not leak. Oh, we got a zip tie there. So, drive that in. probably wear gloves too. I have a habit of not doing that. Yeah, we just got this hose is zip tied to another one. So I'm going to snip it. Just got to be careful not to catch the hose. There we go. All right. So there you have it. Here's our carburetor. And we gotta take this off of the engine. It looks pretty straightforward. All right, just looking at this initially, it looks like this pump has to come off right here. I don't know if the whole thing has to come off. It won't be difficult to do that because we just have one mounting point. And with that coming off, I think maybe it'll give me access to this air box. Gonna have to take off this line, which is actually a fuel line from the pump. And then that fuel line goes, looks like into some sort of like throttling lever. And then, yeah, these bolts here are actually the studs holding it to the actual head of the motor. This will have to come off because I think this is holding on this metal bracket. And we'll see what happens. Might have had some thread lock on it. No? Alright, I need some sockets. These posts are going to go all the way through all this stuff into the actual motor. Yeah, this is going to have to come off too. The pump itself. Looks like it's the same type of screw as everything else that was in the housing. Kind of nice they did that. If there's all sorts of different screws. Oh no, this is different. This is coarse threaded. I'm going to leave that off to the side. There's a lot of different screws. I like to take a piece of cardboard. It's nothing new. Most mechanics will do it, or home DIYers. Piece of cardboard and just put a bunch of holes in the cardboard and label, or put your screws in and label everything where it came from. This air box is going to have to come off. Another 8mm. And I do have to take that hose off again. This has been a good little Jenny. I can get like 10 hours worth of use out of it when it's full with a single gallon. And with winter here now, I really should have this ready in case we were to lose power and we needed something. I could still use my truck. That's one of my goals, is to be able to hook my truck right into my home. It might be a different video. All right, so this is, part of the vacuum system, or this hose right here does not need to come off. Just lay that off to the side. Now we've exposed the carburetor, and this is just going to slide right off. But I want to take these two hoses off first. I'm gonna take them off from down here where this fuel line enters the car. Right here. That way it'll stay with the top part of this unit. And this one will have to come off right there. See if I can wiggle these off with my needle nose. Not quite. Oh, I'm thinking I should probably, while I have this all apart, just replace all these hoses. We'll see. Because they are on there pretty good. Yeah, they are stuck. Last thing I want to do is have to cut them off. Usually once you get them unseated, like the rubber, because of the gasoline, kind of sticks to your metal there. Oh, yeah, there's still some gas in that pump, so I'll lift that up. Try and keep that hose elevated, or else it'll be going all over the place. There shouldn't be much in it. There we go. Oh, going down here, that's right. All right. I need to do two things at once here. Screwdriver and needle nose. There we go. Yeah, it's just kind of welded to it. It's been on there a long time. Yeah, these ends. If anything, I should cut the rubber on these ends because they're a little raw. See if I can get it off from the top. Come on. There we go. Okay. So you're gonna have a gasket right here. Just be careful with these. This one's pretty substantial. That's a solid gasket. That one will not need to be replaced. I am going to take off this hose. It's a drainage hose. I guess I don't need to. I can just pull it up. And then pull this off. And we do have some wiring here. My guess is, yeah, these are all screwed down. So let me get the right screwdriver. You can probably see right here. So that black box, my guess is that tiny little screw right there is holding it down. And then this capacitor, looks like a capacitor at least, sorry, right there. Looks like that'll come out with those two screws down on either side of it to straddle it. So let me go get a screwdriver, that'll do that. Okay, so I got it off the top piece, and it wasn't the little ones. It was 3 screws, the larger ones on the outside of this, meaning there was one down in here, that one I took out, and then this one and then one right here on the throttle lever. And that's got the spring on it. So that will just be free floating. Just make sure you know how that went on, or it was on there before you take it off, so that you can get it in the right position putting it back. All right, now we're left with our carburetor. If you can see that. Hang on, let me back up this a little bit. There we go. And we got our bowl in the bottom. My guess is because I had gas in there for so long that everything needs to be cleaned out. The jets, pins, holes, every orifice you can get into to take the bowl out. And you might actually, I don't have it here, but as you tip this over, you'll probably lose gasoline that may have been sitting in this bowl. But we got to take this this bolt off, and by taking that off, the bowl will fall off, and we can go ahead and take a look and see if it needs a heavy cleaning or not. I'm going to give it a heavy cleaning no matter what. Of course, they wouldn't give you the same size socket. Where was that one? Should be. Oh wait, no, it's this one. All right, yeah. So that's your 10 mil. So just gonna crack this bolt. There we go. Again, this has never been done, so that might be a little tight for you. Oh, there's all our gas. All right, we're gonna take this stuff. Actually, it doesn't look too bad. There's some crud in the bottom. I'll show you. You can see it along that opening, but it's not bad. Clean this up. Don't lose that guy. Hey, fixing stuff can be a messy job, but I love it. Okay. So, what we need to do is pull this carb apart in the right way, and we want to make, what we need to do is pull this carb apart in the right way, and we want to make sure that we organize or keep all this stuff organized. Now, initially looking at it, let me show you here. The bowl is a little bit high. This should be level. It's off by maybe a 1/16 of an inch. I'm not going to worry about it, but we need to pull this pin that holds your float. This is your float. And now the float can pull right out. And be careful, there's a little pin right there. That pin, if you aren't familiar, it goes into this opening. And that opening is where your fuel dumps into the carburetor to fill the bowl. We're gonna clean all these little spots out. Basically gonna take look at every hole we can find and clean it with carb cleaner. We're gonna clean up this too. Looks like part of our gasket peeled off. Not too worried about that on that side. If we had a gasket down here that was ripped or broken, that's where you really need to make sure that you have a good fit. So that's where all your fuel is going to be housed, and you don't want any sort of opening or else you get a leak. So just be careful here. You don't want to scrape off any of this aluminum. There we go. And I do have some wire brushes that actually are probably better for this. Going with some soft steel. Yeah, just keep working that until you can get those pieces off. Again, no gouging. There we go. We just loosened it. And a good scrape. on all the surface of it. And we're going to clean all this out. Okay. Then we grab our carb cleaner. This is the first part. I actually do a second part. You might not have the second part. It's an ultrasonic cleaner. I run all my parts through it. I think it just does a good job of cleaning it. Make sure you're wearing glasses for this. And it does help to actually put something down. I've got this weldable surface down here that I just kind of get everything on, so I'm not too worried about it. And again, we want to make sure we get in here. This is where your fuel goes into the carburetor to mix with air. And make sure you get this part where your fuel dumps in to the carb. You can see it's coming out the hose there. That's good, that means it's open. And then those are the two main components. Sometimes I like to take this out, this jet, only because if I don't and I run into future problems, it's typically because I didn't take that out. So let me find the right screwdriver for this job. Is that the right one? This one might work. Just be careful, that's pretty soft in there. That's not right. Meaning it's just brass, so you don't want to work it really hard because you could actually break it. All right, here we go. This will get it. Yeah, just keep backing that jet out. There we go. And that is your jet inlet. You can see those little holes in there. And then it's got this collar to help you install, that actually installs it. But that's pretty much it. Give it a blow. Seems pretty clear. I'm gonna put some carb cleaner through it anyway. Yeah, I can be all right with that. That's not going to be an issue. Drop that back in. Take your threaded side, drop that in. And then go ahead and drive this back down until it's firmly seated. So you don't want to over tighten that. There's no seating depth to it, so you can just put it as firmly as you'd like. Again, just nice and sort of there. Okay, so this is my ultrasonic cleaner. I turn the heat on, I take this, throw it in. Now, normally what I do is I put some Simple Green in this as my cleaning agent. Currently, I just have some Dawn dish detergent in here, just a little bit. Just something to help break up the grease. And I'll do a full set on this, so 480 seconds. And I'll let this run through 2 or 3 cycles. After each cycle, I give it a swish, move it around, and put it back in. So we'll let that run. While that's running, I did wipe out that float bowl, and that was the stuff that was in the bottom with a clean towel. I mean, it doesn't seem like that should do much, but any sort of particles, those jets are so tiny, those holes, that any of these tiny particles can plug it up. All right, we've run that through. Now I just give it another spray of cleaner. Go through everything you can find, every hole, every opening. Just make sure it's nice and clean. Just trying to push any particulates out of the way of the fuel from getting to the combustion chamber. Okay, now we can reassemble. I'm actually gonna hit this with my compressed air just to dry it off. Okay, here we go, let's reassemble. We got our float, and check that pin too. So this pin, these ones with the rubber tips, sometimes they can deform. Mine looks pretty good. It's always good to have a couple repair kits around for any car, anything that you have that has a carb, just in case you need it. Don't forget your gasket here, but we've got our pin for the float bowl. It's gonna go right back down into that brass opening right there. And then you'll lift slightly to put your pin back in. And then we're gonna take our gasket. And this does look like it has an up and a down. So I'll show you if I can. This gasket, you can see a ridge on that side. It's like right on top of the gasket. That ridge is meant for the bowl, the lip of the bowl, and the other side has no ridge. So we want to go ridge up. And then, I don't remember what the orientation was with this, but I'd be willing to bet it went this way, because this side was the outward facing side of our engine. I'm gonna put this back on. That'll seat in the gasket on its own. And we got a 10 mil socket. And we just want to hand tighten, don't want to over crank, just so it clamps down or pushes down on that gasket really well. All right, I'm gonna go put this all back together. And so I wanted to show you something. On top of here, there's the throttling component, and it's an electronic throttle. So there's this like little black retention clip in here that goes inside the mounted part, this black mounted spring-loaded part on the carb. And there's a little pin that goes points inside to that spring. And then this part actually goes on this solenoid right here, that brass piece. And this will actually spin left and right based on throttle needs. So when you're putting it back together, that did fall out on me, so I just wanted to let you know that that could happen. When you're putting it back together, make sure it all lines up, and that little black part I just showed you goes inside that brass post. And then use your machine screws for these deep well mounts. And again, you never want to over tighten any of this stuff. Some of these things can be made so cheaply and they just break immediately. Just want to make them snug. That's one, and grab the other machine screw. Drop that one down. And then snug it up. It's not be lined up right. Or, yeah. just snug. Okay, now you have this linkage, and this linkage is actually mated, has to go on this the right way. This isn't a perfect circle. It's got flat sides. So you'll know when you put it down here, there's this spring that has a hook, and that hook has to go on this piece of plastic. So you've got to make sure you have it in there just right where it springs back. Okay, it takes some finagling, but we got it. And as you can see, when I push this choke, that linkage is going to send this butterfly open. That's what you're looking for. And now take your non-machine headed through, non-machine screw with your washer, and I'm going to put that onto the spring linkage we just put back in place. Same rule, just snug. Okay. All right, let's reassemble. Okay, so this is going to slide over our posts. There's a gasket on the other side I just left on there. There's always going to be a gasket on either side of your carburetor. This is our gasket that came off with it, where it left a little piece up there. You could put some gasket sealer, like where it flaked off here. But because it's on the outside corner, I'm not too worried. There's going to be a good seal around this part of the carburetor. All right, I'm going to attach our hoses. Oh, yep. Got that one going there. Our pump. I'm gonna loose fit this for now. And our air box. And this is sleeved, so it's gonna go down into this rubber boot. Attach this hose. Again, take pictures. There's a lot going on here. So anytime you're taking anything apart, get a picture before you do. There's a little post there that this whole pump slides over, and then drop in the screw for it. Our 8mm socket. And reassemble. All right. looks good. Yeah. So there is one more hookup. This post, for our fuel line. Remember, that's going to route up behind this and come back in and attach to that, but it's down with our fuel tank. I'm going to get the rest of this together. Other than, putting this back on, the rest is kind of simple. The only thing I would suggest is make sure you look down inside of your generator for any mounting clips that may have fallen. I noticed they come off pretty easily. These pieces right here, they just slide on and off. I've picked up a couple already. I just take my magnet down there and grab it. Not sure where this one came from, but it'll show up eventually. It's probably came from the hood or the housing for this whole thing. All right, I'll be back when I get it back together. There is one part here. This pull cord, I did feed it through the opening on the hood of the housing. All right, here we go. We're gonna put this on cold start. Yours probably has the same options, cold start, and then run start or warm start. And let's see if we can get this started. There you go. You got it running again, and it is ready for winter if I need it. Any questions, or you just want to know maybe how to do something else on this, just leave a comment below and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.